Black Lives Matter is either a movement based in a need to make people think about where race relations are going in America, or some would say they are a thinly disguised terrorist group seeking to upend America and make people play by their rules. Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark has never been one to mince words, and his latest, using that group and ISIS in the same sentence, has raised more than a few eyebrows. It begs another opinion, that of one who leads conservative blacks across America and can weigh in on where the truth lies about Black Lives Matter and a whole lot more. Our guest is a founding member of the Project 21 Black Leadership Network, deemed by some as the leading voice of black conservatives. Also running for elected office as Pennsylvania State Constable. Welcome Bishop Council Nedd II. Bishop, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate your time, and I want to begin right off with what I just mentioned. David A. Clark, the Milwaukee County Sheriff, who has said before long, and he tweeted this out on Tuesday, Black Lives Matter will join forces with ISIS to bring down our legal constituted republic. You heard it first here. How does that strike you?
Well, I mean, I think, one, it's frightening. Hopefully what he said doesn't come to fruition, but I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility. You know, the fact is, Sheriff Clark was right when he said that, they're essentially a terrorist group. I don't doubt that there are some people involved in that movement who, I'm sure there's some people involved in that movement who have some good intentions. However, all you hear are the people making the most noise, calling for violence against police officers, calling for the destruction of sort of everything that we know in the name of promoting one group over top of another. And again, that's racist, elitist, and I think it's dangerous because also, we've seen now that in response to the Black Lives Matter movement, police officers have been shot dead in the streets.
Then when you talk about people making noise, let's play the other side of this here. Is it possible that there is just a few, maybe a dozen, a couple of dozen, they're the ones out there screaming, and in the most part, the people who believe in Black Lives Matter believe in a peaceful resolution?
I think it probably changed that ratio a little bit. I would probably maybe say 70% are probably more radicalized at this point. The 30% who sort of align themselves with the movement or saw something something redeemable in that movement, they've completely faded to the background.
What is it possible they could see redeemable? Let's get to that, Bishop. What is it possible that they could see redeemable in a movement that would basically come out and say, let's kill cops?
Well, don't get me wrong. There's nothing redeemable in that.
Exactly.
But, there's absolutely nothing redeemable in that. Let me be clear, and I've been clear on the record about this repeatedly. But, I think it started out as a decent idea, but then got immediately politicized. And then it got radicalized, and that's the radicalization has sort of become the dominant voice in there. I don't know that there's much redeemable of it. I mean, all the people that I know who were initially sort of intrigued by this and said, well, this is something interesting, maybe this is something I can get behind, have absolutely want nothing to do with it. And I think rightly so at this point.
Then what are they getting wrong? Because we're seeing pictures of black people, white people, men, women, all ages. Well, how could they possibly be getting it wrong then? Because as you've said, many people believe that they are terrorists, that they are looking to do things on a very evil manner. Why are so many people then falling for it?
Well, you've got a situation where, I hate to sound redundant, but you've got the liberal media that's completely focused and honed in on this, and there's always somebody who's willing to sort of capitalize on those sort of situations. And so, you've got a media that's willing to jump all over this and follow this, and every single thing that pops up, the media is willing to come there, blow it up, blow it out of proportion, and you've got a few group of people who know how to play the media and can show up and get a lot of media attention. The whole Quentin Tarantino thing, he had absolutely no business getting involved in this situation at this point, and certainly not coming out in support of this particular movement, just after Detective Holder's funeral.
I want to also now turn to something else. In a couple of minutes we have left, what's happened in South Carolina this week. And as you running for a Pennsylvania State Constable, I want to go ahead and get to what happened in South Carolina. There are many people who see what happened in South Carolina, the cop dealing with the student in the classroom, and immediately the first thing they do is they snap to it being about racism. The big question then, though, is how do we get away from that? Because it's obvious there is no racism here. No one has seen any evidence of it. So how do we stop everything from knee-jerking to racism when you have a white cop and a black individual?
Well, again, people are always interested in trying to make a racial issue where there is none. You know, I spent 2 years teaching at a public school in Washington, D.C., another fine city that I happen to love. But I spent 2 years teaching at a public charter school in Washington, D.C. We were right across the street from a police station. And the police were always in the building, and things happen sometimes, and I've seen the police drag students out of the class. Black policemen dragging black students out of the classroom. That's not racism. That's, we've got a problem in this situation, we need to address it, and this individual needs to be removed from this room at this time. And in my opinion, the police officer seemed to be just doing his job.
What do we do then to get away from it every single time when somebody screams racism? Is there any way to take care of that, or are we just going to be stuck in that and we have to deal with it and hopefully it dies out?
Well, I mean, I hope it dies out, but the fact is we're stuck in this situation, like you said, and I don't know that there's an earthly resolution to this. You know, I'm a clergyman, I'm a priest now, I'm running for constable, but the fact is, I'm a priest, I'm a clergyman, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, and I believe that, people's hearts literally need to be changed. Hearts need to be softened, hearts need to be changed so that people can really see what's going on here and try to come up with a real resolution, putting their own ego aside in favor of what's best for everybody involved.
And Project 21 is trying to do that, trying to move race relations forward, trying to help heal a lot of the wounds that America still suffers every single day. Bishop Council Nedd, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We will speak again. These are subjects that simply won't go away. They need more attention, and we will give it. Thank you very much. The global juggernaut that is crying about losses, but when you look at the numbers, they're still raking in the cash. What a shock. We've heard this before, right? Lauren Fix, pedal to the metal. It comes up next right here on The Hardline.